see some dinosaurs. Ugh.
One of my favoriteest movies of all time is Jurassic Park. And I just want to talk about why that's such a good goddamn movie. There are so many things good about Jurassic Park that it's hard to precisely pinpoint why, but it's one of those blockbuster movies that was like, back in the day, just the whole package. It was just everything you could have wanted from a movie. But you had everything in this movie. You had characters, you had a pretty compelling story, and you had fucking dinosaurs. Absolutely wonderful dinosaurs. They were amazing. So you had all of that, and it came together to form a perfect blockbuster movie. Something I don't think you really see much of anymore. Because, like, most movies today, in my opinion, are shit. They are just CGI clusterfucks. None of it comes together. None of it's interesting. Even it's not even kind of compelling. They don't even have the illusion of a story. They kind of suck. So I'm here today to talk to you into this dynamic microphone because I was far too lazy to set up my condenser because I just didn't want to like mount it and all that shit. And I fancy myself as being hilarious like a stand-up comedian. So you start off the movie with some mysterious, pseudo-ominous music that just really just slowly brings you into the story. And you just feel like, oh, something big is about to happen. And literally big, because dinosaurs were not small. They're really big. They're huge. You got this mystique. And in 1990, like 2 or 3, whenever the fuck this movie came out, I was like 2 or 3 when this movie came out. I was born in 1990. No one had really seen a fucking dinosaur before, or not really, done compellingly. So, mystery, and then next thing you know, a fucking guy gets dragged into a goddamn a cage. He's like, ah! And he's like, the other guy's like, shoot her! Shoot her! And it was wonderful. You're like, wow, something really fucked that guy up. Must have been a dinosaur. It was probably a dinosaur because this movie is called Jurassic Park. A movie, by the way, where most of the animals contained there within are not from the Jurassic time period. But, well, that's splitting hairs by millions of years. So you got that, and you're like, wow, this is already compelling moments into the movie. You start off, the next thing is like you start off with the researchers, the paleontologists on the field, looking at what we currently have to observe. Granted, there's no Velociraptor. Velociraptor, which, by the way, that fossil is not a Velociraptor. That is like a Utah raptor or a totally different dinosaur. Velociraptors were like this big, They were not very big at all. So you had them digging that up, and then you found out things about the characters. And by the way, not all the characters are very, like, dynamic in this movie. This isn't the most, like, advanced study of character. Most of the characters are very one-dimensional, but have a trait that adds to the story. A few characters have arcs, and they change throughout. And that's all you can ask for from a movie like this, and it serves it perfectly. So you have that, and you're learning things about these characters, and then John Hammond shows up, and it's like, hey, he pops the champagne or whatever, and he's like, I have a thing for you. And they're like, that we were saving that. And then he's like, yeah, for this I might be paraphrasing. So they do all that, and they get to the island, and you're like, whoa, look at this plant. It should be extinct. Laura Dern says. Alan is like, that's a big fucking dinosaur. That's a big dinosaur. Laura Dern, look at the dinosaur. And she does. And she's like, someday I'm going to crash a starcraft going at the speed of light into another starcraft. I might be crossing universes with that one. And you might be saying, holy shit, what an amazing movie I'm experiencing. And it's 2020. Now, any movie looks great compared to the year 2020, actually. But Jurassic Park, even in 2019, looked top-notch and was delivered beautifully. So why is it so wonderful? And the answer is, it's a well-told story with the perfect amount of intrigue and then perfect use of graphic effects. So we have a clear narrative. Park is built. We need to make sure the park is safe. Park is not safe, turns out. Everybody is struggling to survive and get off the island. And yeah, it's simple. It's a really simple movie. And it works for this kind of genre. Because let's take a look at the T-Rex scene, right? The most probably famous scene for the movie, T-Rex in the rain. Why does this T-Rex today still look so goddamn good? And you might say, well, it's animatronic. It was practical. And that is true. There was a practical T-Rex. But there was also a CGI one in 1992. So you might be saying, oh, it was. And I'll be like, yeah, it was. You see its entire body walking in a few scenes. Like they didn't build a perfectly walking animatronic one. They only built like one with like the little T-Rex arms and shit, and doing that kind of stuff. Bentley, can I help you? Okay. Sorry, my dog showed up. How did they get this CGI so good in 1992? Because we've seen some CGI from the prior years and even some years after, and they look like shit. Well, it turns out they were going to do it in claymation first, but it just didn't look quite right. Like, it looked good, but it looked kind of hokey and campy. Something wasn't right. So Steven Spielberg's like, hey, Industrial Light and Magic, or whatever the fuck, Can you do this? And they're like, yeah. And they made some Gallimimus skeletons run around in a computer thing, and they're like, wow, those Gallimimus skeletons Gallimimus skeletons looked really good. He's like, yeah, those look really fluid. You should do that for a bunch of the other dinosaurs as well. And they're like, okay, we'll try. And shit, they did. They did really good. So how does this T-Rex look so good? Well, not only is it the very practical use of using both in tandem, the CGI and the practical one. So there's a scene where the T-Rex is you have the practical animatronic one in the frame. And then it actually in the same shot leaves the frame, and then the CGI one walks across. And that perfect combination and execution totally suspends our disbelief. We're like, oh yeah, that's the same T-Rex. We don't even think about it. We don't even think about it at all. I don't know why I did that, but yeah, it's because I got an itch right here. Then you have the Gallimimus scene, and that might be the worst looking CGI in the movie, but it's fantastic. Actually, still. In fact, when I compare some of the CGI from 1992 Jurassic Park and 2000 and whatever Jurassic World, Jurassic World to me looks like a stunning piece of shit that I'm not compelled by at all. Like, it's just really bad. I'm totally not immersed. I can totally tell that these dinosaurs are fucking CGI. I don't feel like I'm there with real dinosaurs. Jurassic Park works not just because of how well done the visuals are, but how the story is told. The story is told so wonderfully. We have characters like Grant, who one of his arcs is like children. He doesn't really like children a whole lot, and so he's forced to basically spend half the movie with children and like learn to overcome his dislike. And he really grows attached to them. So we see some growth in that character. And he's an expert, and he's very cautious. He's like, hey, this is cool, but maybe we should like think about this. Now, Laura Dern, who she's like, wow, these plants are cool, but also shares the same opinions. Then we got Malcolm. Obviously, we got Malcolm, who is a fantastic character, really standout character, in fact. And he's all like, this is dumb from the beginning, and we shouldn't be playing God. Quote, we just have characters to relate to and enjoy and to really bring us through the story. You got Hammond, who is a very hopeful, and he wants to just make an experience people will love, and he genuinely wants that in this movie. I haven't read the book, but apparently in the book he's a dick. But in the movie, so he's a really wishful thinker. He's blind to the flaws of his wonderful idea, the idea that he could entertain people and really get them to just bring joy to people. We have genuine moments of terror and fear and excitement in the movie. We really feel the threat of the T-Rex, and we don't even feel like it's unrealistic, like, even though it kind of is, because like T-Rexes, like, do you think they're just like walking around looking for like a couple human-sized snacks? No, they're fucking going for gallimimuses and bigger things. What the fuck do they want with like a guy and two kids? That's like barely an appetizer. But we don't think about that because the movie is so well told that we believe that the T-Rex might be that interested in a couple like fucking, some finger foods. I'm gonna drink some of this beer. Okay. I'm also gonna have a Fig Newton. Now, I know Fig Newtons are like kind of a controversial snack because apparently most people hate them, but I actually like Fig Newtons, and I don't like much of anything, so I'm gonna eat this Fig Newton. That's a Fig Newton. There's so much of this movie I haven't even touched yet, like you got the hacker dude, whose name is eluding me right now. We'll call him Laura Dern 2, fuck it. Laura Dern 2, who's overweight and gets poison spit in their eyes because they're an evil bastard trying to steal dinosaur secrets and really cause the whole thing. We have the lawyer. We have the hunter dude. There's so many characters in this movie that, like, while being simple and not really, overly complex, really serve the story of the movie and really move it along. But they're not like so one-dimensional where they're just really like paltry and uninteresting, but more so that they have personality archetypes that you might see in real life, that you might actually see in these situations. But it's a fantastic movie, and I always just feel compelled by it and enthralled by it to this day, like 28 years later. Like, it is such a well-done movie, and I wish action movies would become this again, but I think all the creativity in Hollywood has kind of been sapped away. At least when it comes to big productions. Smaller productions still have like some ambition and creativity, and I hope we see that again at big ones. Because even like Steven Spielberg was a phenomenal director. Even like new movies he makes just don't have the same spark, I feel like some of his older works did, that really present imagery that sticks with you. Because I think a lot of movies try to tell you what's happening as opposed to showing you. Jurassic Park did a lot of showing. They use visuals all the time to really communicate the story. Like even with the gates opening up, it's like, you know, you just get a sense of wonder. Not a single fucking word was said for a few moments while that was happening, and you had a lot of things communicated to you in that moment. They were just theme park doors opening up, but you felt a sense of wonder when that was happening. Like, wow, there must be something big behind these big doors. And sure as shit there were. Fucking dinosaurs. You ever seen a dinosaur? Fucking doubt it. I've never seen a dinosaur. It's kind of like birds, but birds are boring dinosaurs. We see them all the time. But a dinosaur, non-avian dinosaurs are fucking cool. And I want to know more about them. And, like, have one. You know, like, have a pet. Like a pet, you know, I don't know, Allosaurus. Put it in the backyard. I got a whole bunch of rabbits in my backyard, and well, fuck. There wouldn't be any rabbits back there if I had an Allosaurus. And I think long term, I could deal with the repercussions of having an Allosaurus in my backyard. First off, I don't even have a fence in my backyard. So I'll have to build a fence, like, you know, like a wood fence or something. Keep her in. It'd be a lady one. I don't want it to, like, reproduce by accident. But we won't fill in the gaps in the genetic code with frog DNA. Because then it might turn into a boy or something, and well, grow a penis suddenly. And we can't have that. There's so much about this movie I could say still, even to the soundtrack, which is just wonderful. I will recap everything with this. It's a perfect story in terms of how it delivers visuals to you, how it delivers characters to you. And it all came together to bring you to a theme park that didn't have more than 2 people working on all of the code that ran the park. Wonderful, and it, to this day, just excites me more than most movies. And I think on its own merits, it stands up. And if you disagree, I want you to carefully go and Okay, I'm going now.